This week's chapter of Black Clover starts off exactly where we left off last week, with Asta about to do battle with the five-headed dragon, and it seems like he's really going into this with the mindset of getting rid of this dragon and really being able to help out the citizens of this country. We see a little bit of his mastery of Zaten right here, where he instantly is able to launch it and he cuts off one of the heads of the dragon, but we see that it actually isn't enough, because although he's able to instantly take off the head using anti-magic Zaten, the actual dragon is able to just regenerate itself, kind of maybe not due to magic, maybe just its body, and it keeps doing that whenever Asta cuts a head off. Asta instantly recognizes this and he asks himself, what should I really do right now? We then cut back over to a different fight that's going on right now, and it's actually the ice user against the strongest of these Zaten, and he's asking him, is that all you've got? And he's saying that his moves are really flashy, they're really cool looking, but they're actually not doing anything at all. The guy then says that he can't really lose right now for the sake of Lucius's righteous world, and we see him actually kind of second guess this. He's saying righteous, like what does that mean? He's saying that from your point of view, it's only natural that you think that you're in the right. He says that although that's the case, that he doesn't really know anything about your leader. Right now, I'm here to cut you down for the sake of our Shogun, so it doesn't really matter at all. He doesn't care for what reason that the guy's there, for what reason that Lucius is doing all of this. All he cares about is making sure that he's able to help out his own Shogun. It's at this point that we actually start to get the backstories of him and Ryuya, and it's actually a very interesting story, and he explains it as from a very young age, he was one of the strongest members and a likely candidate to become the leader of the Koshu clan. He explains that the only person that was able to even really rival him was actually Ryuya. Then even says that at the time that Ryuya was one of the members or the likely candidates to become the heir of the Goshu clan, so it seems like Ryuya is from the Goshu clan. He explains that they had a sort of friendly rivalry and that they would maybe, train together and do a lot of things together, and it was also very friendly, but at the same time, when he turned 17, a supposed epidemic had broken out throughout the lands, and a lot of people that didn't have a lot of Yoryoku were getting very sick and dying. We then see a sort of meeting, and a lot of the members are saying that at this rate everybody's going to get completely annihilated, and they're saying that the only way to kind of fix this would be to get the living soul herb, a sort of herb I guess that would be able to counteract this curse or this sickness and help out all the people. One of the people there actually questions it, saying how are we supposed to find an herb from some folklore and that it might have even gone missing or extinct. It's at this point that things get a little weird, I guess, in terms of like exactly how this eyeball kind of thing works, but they explain it as there's a sort of thing in the world or in this land called the Tengensu, and they said that it's an all-seeing eye, and that the one that uses it kind of gets that eye, that all-seeing eye, but at the same time the price that you pay for obtaining that Tengensu is losing all your Yoryoku. So for some reason, and we see like this really cool little cave looking thing with an eyeball that has like a sort of opening in it, so for some reason that's there, and it just gives you an all-seeing eyeball, which I guess makes sense and would explain why Ryuya has that sort of eye patch, but I kind of want more of an explanation on like what exactly this thing really is. It's at this point though that we get the mindset of him, and he's saying, like, whoa, at the same time you do get an all-seeing eye, which is cool, but you lose all your Yoryoku, so it kind of defeats the purpose, and there's no point in doing that if you're going to lose all of your power. And he explains that at that point what he was most afraid of was losing all of his Yoryoku and not being, I guess, the strongest ever, so he was very afraid of that and he didn't go through with it. He even says it himself that in his mindset that he would have rather just let the weak pass away and perish instead of actually helping them out if it meant that he would lose all of his powers. So he would have just let them all pass away if it meant that he had to lose his powers. But at the same time, we see that Ryuya didn't see it this way. He says, got it. And he says, if that's all you want, then go ahead and take my Yoryoku. So it really does just show that Ryuya is just a good person deep down. He really does care about people, and he doesn't care at all, what it takes to kind of help out people. He does it unconditionally, and it reminds me a lot of Asta, since if this was the same situation, Asta most likely would have jumped at the fact that he could actually help out the people, and he would have done the same thing. We then see Ryuya even ask Yosuga, he says, Yosuga, are you okay with this? And he's saying, sure. And he mentions to himself, like, is he mental? Why would he do this? Does he not want to become Shogun? Why would he give away his powers and kind of risk his chances of becoming the leader, the thing that he's always wanted to become? He then explains that Ryuya was actually able to find the living soul herb, and he was able to save all of the people that were passing away from the sickness, and it seems like everybody really appreciated that. And he mentions the fact that he was very selfish in that situation, that he wasn't even willing to help out the people. just be if it meant that he would lose his powers. He mentions though that after all of this happened, Ryuya didn't change at all. He didn't change in the slightest, and he was actually just the same person that he was before. He just kept saving people all over the land of the sun, going around helping out people and just showing that he really did care about the citizens, and he really does care about being the best shogun that he can kind of be. He even says that before they knew it, that a lot of people kind of resonated with him and really liked his, I guess, ideals, and that they joined together and started to follow him more and more. And all of these followers kind of did it of their own free will. They're following him because they know that he's a great person and that they really do see a bright future with him as the shogun. We then cut over to a different scene of the, I guess, the inauguration, or the place where they're kind of deciding who becomes the shogun, and we see that they're kind of going over the fact that Ryuya does have a lot of the achievements and the accomplishments that would make him a great shogun, but they mention the fact that he doesn't have any Yoryoku. They then say that due to the fact that he has no Yoryoku, the actual best candidate to become the shogun would actually be Yosuga, but obviously we know that this wouldn't be the case. He just doesn't have what it takes to become a shogun, and this actually should go to Ryuya. And this is actually exactly what he says. He says, Ryu, you're the new shogun, that he acknowledges him and that he's going to become the 7th Ryuzen member. So it shows that even at that time he did acknowledge the fact that he really couldn't become the shogun, that he didn't have that same mindset that Ryuya has, and that he wouldn't make it nearly as good of a shogun as Ryuya has, and Ryuya has been doing ever since then. We then come back to the present day and we see that Yosuga is still fighting that ice user, and the ice user is saying, you know, whoa, why am I not able to take him down even after this many attacks? And we then actually find out what the Yojutsu power is of Yosuga, and it's an iron Yojutsu, and his form is called Iron Soldier. And we see that he's just barreling through the different ice that's there. It's not doing anything to him, and he's actually getting towards the member, and he uses a Zen slash, and it seems like this is kind of the end of the fight already. So it really is cool seeing what his Yojutsu is, and it makes sense that it would be an iron Yojutsu, since he did say that he's the strongest. Then this would probably give him the strongest defense and maybe even the strongest offense, kind of, in a way. So it does make sense that he would have an iron power. He then says to the ice user, tough luck, pal, but I'm the strongest there is. And we actually cut back to some of the different fights with all the other Ryuzen members, and we get a cool panel of Ryuya saying that, you know, there's no way that they're going to be defeated here, so let's take down the 5-headed dragon. And he really is just hyping up his different members, the different people that have all come together, that have seen what he's capable of as the shogun and really do follow him. So he's hyping them up to tell them that they're going to take down the dragon, they're going to do everything they can to save the country, and they're going to help out Asta in his endeavors to defeat Lucius. So this really is amazing, and this is actually what the chapter ends with, everybody saying yes. And Yosuga kind of takes the last words of the chapter, saying that Asta's kind of aspiring to become just the same person as Ryuya. So he's saying, you know, we're gonna kind of see what a man we can make him into. So that's where the chapter ends, and this is a very good chapter. I really did love it, and I really do want to know what you guys thought of the chapter in the comment section below. Definitely let me know what you guys thought. Also, like the video if you liked it, and subscribe, as it really does help me out, and I really do appreciate each and every one of you guys for sticking around and watching the videos. You have no idea just how much this means to me, and I want to thank everybody so much for stopping by and watching this video. Thank you so much. With that being said, I am out. Peace.